welcome to today's Fireside chat as part of our Credit Goes to Her initiative. Before we move on, let me just set the context. Credit Goes to Her is an initiative which was created by CRIF India and specifically to spotlight women in credit and BFSI whose perspectives shape the future of financial services, to amplify their voices and to celebrate their journeys. So today we have one such guest. I warmly welcome Santosh Agarwal, CEO Paisabazaar. Thank you for graciously accepting to be a part of the Fireside chat today. She's a leader with a strong entrepreneurial drive. She's steering Paisabazaar, one of India's largest digital financial services platform. She's steering the company towards not just market leadership in credit, but also towards holistic financial wellness in India. We are very, very happy to have her with us today for this. And before we move on, Santosh, if you would like to say a few words, welcome to do so now before we move on to the questions.
Thank you, Christina, for actually humbling introduction, and great to be here, and good to see you guys taking this initiative. I think very good to see a lot of people now coming together to uplift women.
Thank you, Santosh. So Santosh, before we start, would be really good to hear your journey, right, from your earlier career to now leading one of India's largest financial services platform, right? And what experiences have kind of shaped you as a leader? Would be good to hear that from you.
Sure, Christina. So, my story is a bit atypical, is what I would say. It sounds a bit like right out of a Bollywood script. A small town girl with no grand, master plan as such, and no big network, no pedigree, but did take one step at a time and one day at a time, and consistently through hard work, I think doing one thing well and moving on to the next did get me here. So it's been quite an amazing experience, and I believe there's a lot still to come. But I never started out to say that one day I'll be the CEO. I was always focused on saying that this is a job at hand and I'm going to do it well, and that just opened more and more doors. And whenever there was a challenge or opportunity, even though I wasn't really ready, and there was a lot of self-doubt over the years, but I never said no. No matter what the role was, what the opportunity was, I never said no. And it was always like, I'm sure I'll do it. So I think that kind of kept me moving forward. The important lessons that that I have learned over the years is that it doesn't really matter where you come from. It doesn't really matter what you do when you start your job and when you start your career. What you do there really matters a lot, because your background may open some doors for you, and it gets easier to get into meteor roles initially. But if you don't really perform and if you don't really do what is required from the role, it won't last too long. I think once you're into whatever you're doing, do the best you can there, and add value. I think don't focus too much on short-term optimization of metrics. Don't think about what is the real value you're adding to the world, what's the real value you're adding to consumers, and over the next few years, how are you shaping up the space? What are you doing to transforming how consumers consume a particular product? And I think if you keep that in mind, things generally kind of play out. So I think that's how my journey has been so far, and it's got me here. Hopefully we'll take the same principles forward, and what I see is that it applies to every industry as well. So some of these principles are, it's not it worked at the first company that I joined, which was actually an events company. It was not a financial services company. At that point, I realized that this is not a space for me. I wanted to be in financial services. At that point, when I joined Paisabazaar, people did not know Paisabazaar, of course. It was back in 2011, the company had just started. But an ambitious group of people wanted to transform how insurance was consumed in India. And I think what really connected me to people there was that the idea was bold. Not many people were willing to buy the idea at that point of time. But and of course, even the regulatory space was evolving. The regulation, there was no regulation as such to guide what policies I could do or couldn't do. So the regulator also brought out regulations, and we kind of helped them shape regulations in that industry, and that just became how people started consuming insurance digitally. And today, of course, we are a dominant force in that industry. I've applied the same principles here at Paisabazaar, and they seem to work. So, that gives me a lot of confidence that some of these principles are agnostic of which industry you are and operating in.
Thank you for that, Santosh. The last few minutes that you've spoken, something that really comes out is that you never say no and you're always open to challenges. How did you kind of overcome these challenges?
See, I in my growing up years, I grew up in a small town in Darjeeling, and I was fairly involved in our family business. And, there was a point in life where, I wanted to step out and I wanted to enter the corporate world, formal industry, and I did not really want to take the family business forward. And that was a defining moment actually in my life, stepping out of that, because, in a small town, the business was fairly okay. The business was run well, and I could have, comfortably lived my life there. And we were only children, we were only daughters. We didn't have a brother, so I was largely also taking care of my parents, my grandparents, and for them also, if all my sisters had gone out, so I was the only one there. So it did mean that would look after the family. So all of those questions, right? But I think my father did really support me in that decision. And he did say that you've done your bit here, and if you really want to pursue your career, go ahead. So I think that was a defining moment, choosing to not be comfortable in the space that I was, and going out to a bigger city, experiencing a city like Bombay for the first time. It can be a bit overwhelming for somebody who's lived in a small town. But yeah, I think that was a challenge that I really loved. And when you start your career in a corporate world and you don't come from a pedigreed background, there is judgment. There is judgment in giving you, roles and meteor roles, and that too, you being, a woman in the financial services space, especially in senior roles, you will find not too many women being there. So suddenly, when you start occupying, you're part of boardrooms, you're part of large decision making. So there is judgment, and sometimes it's said, sometimes it's unsaid. But how do you not pay heed to that? How do you cut the noise out and focus on the job at hand? And over time, the same bunch of people really, start respecting you for who you are. And luckily for me, sometimes it may all feel that you are the one who's doing all of this great work. But, you also have to be in an environment that kind of supports that. You have to be, so fortunately for me, Paisabazaar, where I spent about 13.5 years, we had that environment. It was extremely merit driven. It didn't matter. Genders didn't matter. So, of course, the environment helped a lot in shaping me to who I became. But yes, there are judgments. There are judgments externally when you talk to partners, when you talk to the external industry, where most people in equal roles will generally be men. So, and especially when I came to Paisa, it's a new industry for me. I have worked largely in insurance all throughout. So, and here, largely you will again see, people do form some early opinions, but I think through your work and through the decisions that you make and through relationships that you build, I think you're able to overcome that pretty much quickly. And I think we are doing fantastic work at Paisa. And fortunately, we're a listed company, so the numbers are public and available, so they speak for themselves. So credibility, I think, gets built very quickly as long as you're able to back what your actions, and you're actually able to move forward and take the company forward.
Thank you for that, Santosh. How do you see the digital lending platforms reshape the credit ecosystem in India? I mean, we have yours is pretty much an established platform, right? You've been in the business for quite some time and established yourself as one of India's largest digital lending financial service providers. And you have many such platforms which are emerging as well. So how do you see these platforms kind of reshaping the ecosystem in India, the financial ecosystem in India?
See, Paisabazaar is a 12-year-old organization. We've served about 6 crore consumers till date, and that's a meaningful number. The reason why we exist and the reason why fintechs will grow is because we have the ability to understand a consumer and not just look at them from a very straightforward standpoint, as in everybody who comes to our platform gives us their credit report, but that alone does not help us, or that alone is not important for giving them a loan or a credit card. We have a lot more information about the consumer because we are digital in nature. We capture a lot of consumer data when they engage with us. Now bringing that data together, making sense of that data, and basically then now taking bureau data as available and all of this data that's available with you, making sense of that from an underwriting standpoint, and then giving credit. I think that is something that fintechs can do. They have the agility to be able to do that. They're able to, I think, bring all of this together and make logical sense of how you should underwrite a consumer. And when you bundle this data into usable formats, banks and NBFCs are able to process this data then and give an outcome. So bringing this together, being a face to consumers, understanding their needs, segmenting customers, and your app may behave very differently. A lot of fintechs are there in this space and everybody's thriving. So the fact that we're able to break down complex financial products into usable, simpler, seamless consumer experiences and have a human layer that kind of engages with them to help them out if they get stuck, that really makes fintechs win. And my sense is with AI now coming in, those experiences will become even more personalized, even sharper, even more narrower in terms of the choice that we give you, and that will propel us forward from here on.
Yes, I mean, I agree to your perspective, because I think in the financial services sector, a 360-degree understanding of the customer that you're onboarding, not just from a credit perspective, from a customer behavior perspective, plus the tech that you can bring to make it extremely user-friendly. Obviously, I mean, I'm sure that fintechs have that edge, right, over traditional lending. Right. So my next question to you, Santosh, is what kind of challenges or opportunities do you think that women borrowers have in India today?
So women borrowers, people now understand women borrowers better. People have underwriting models to support women borrowers. They get advantage on interest rates. They get advantage on chance of approval. They're of course they are better borrowers. Their quality of portfolio is better. So all of that advantage, I think, exists, and it'll only get better. The more and more data we bring, from the industry and from our experiences, it'll only get better. So I'll give you an example of what I'm saying. At Paisabazaar, we designed a product, a term insurance product. A term insurance is basically to take care of a family if something happens to you. There wasn't a women-specific product, so we were the first ones in the industry to bring out a women-specific product, and not just for salaried people. Doing a term insurance product for a salaried individual is fairly straightforward. There's an income that you kind of get, and basically term insurance is replacing your income if you aren't around. So that was pretty standard. But doing that for housemakers and doing that for people who don't have a formal income, women who contribute to the household through the taking care of the family. Now that is not formal income, but of course that's income. It has economic value. And how do you transform that into estimating what that value is? Putting in a way, because in a financial product, you will have to have a value to that. You have to attach an economic value. So how do you assess economic value of that? And then translate that to insurance companies so that they're able to give term insurance to homemakers. I think that, in my mind, was something that I take a lot of pride in doing. In fact, there was a Supreme Court judgment where they kind of recognized that this is income. You may be a homemaker, but what you're doing at home, if this had to be replaced, you had to deploy several people to take care of your family, and that means that this is income. And that, I think, was a defining moment. I picked up that Supreme Court judgment and translated that into a product, and today a lot of women, a lot of homemakers buy term insurance from Paisabazaar, and that's a sense of accomplishment, a sense of pride, and actually giving back to society.
Yeah, that I think is a great perspective, as in thinking of something specific to women, right? And the class of women that you were talking of, to ensure inclusion into the financial ecosystem. Do you also see any changes in policies or regulations which will kind of facilitate more women borrowers into the ecosystem? Do you see anything coming up soon from the regulator as well?
There are a lot of advantages women have in general. Like when you, for example, when you register a property, stamp duty for women is lower than men. When you take a loan, stamp duty for women is slightly lower than, interest rates is slightly lower than men. And here, I think your repayment behavior is generally, so the average credit scores, if you take two homogeneous pools where every other variable is, say, fairly standard, but the only difference is gender. So there's a male group and there's a female group. You will see that the repayment behavior is better. So the average credit score is better for women, and that is what is giving them a better interest rate. It's not that they're women and that's why they get a better interest rate. They're actually at a portfolio level, they have better behavior in terms of repaying the loans, credit cards, paying them on time, better utilization of how they use credit, etc. So of course these advantages exist, and people, because of this nature, more and more financial institutions want to get more of such people into their pool. So that becomes, in a way, a natural way of including more and more women. Women that way have a lot of financial discipline. So from a discipline perspective, women are better. They know how to manage finances better. They basically, I think, naturally are, and maybe their journey through what they go through in life teaches them to be more resilient. So that way, I think we understand some bit of this, and we are curating special packages, special products for women on our platform. And what I feel is that there's a lot of acceptance everywhere. There is a lot of acceptance, even from the regulator, even from the institution, the lending institutions, to do something for women.
What kind of systemic barriers do you think exist for women leaders today? And do you think organizations are equipped to handle such barriers? And are organizations also becoming open to accepting more of women leaders? What's your perspective on that?
See, PB FinTech, and I've spent most of my life here, we were extremely accepting as a group. I think a woman's career is not as I would say linear as a man's career, because of course you will go through marriage, and marriage is actually not really a disrupting phase, but motherhood is. You will have to take a break. You will have to take a break, and a lot of women today do not embrace motherhood because they feel it'll set them back. It'll set them back maybe at least a year or two, and then juggling motherhood and professional life is hard. I won't say it is easy. It is of course hard, but I think if you say that this is one phase in life that I will go through, I have a career that spans 40-50 years, and it's okay. Trust me, if you embrace it with that thinking, it just works out. It just works out well. And most companies are able to, as long as you're putting in effort to ensure that you're balancing both. Most companies are extremely, not just accommodating, they kind of welcome that behavior. They welcome women who are able to balance things out. I built the right ecosystem. I was extremely initially worried how it will work out. But once you had the right people at home to take care of the children, I hired good nannies, trained them, my phone was always with me. In short, some of those basics are in place. And today when I look back, it was, in fact, I really enjoyed those moments, and I feel I'm a better person now. I'm a better leader now. It taught me patience. It taught me, you generally you want to be in control all the time, and as a leader, you want everything to be done perfectly. You want everything to happen in time. That's the situation where nothing is in your control. So how to be okay? How to be okay with that? where things are absolutely not in your control, and finding your direction way in that chaos just helps you be a better leader. More. I think today I have far more empathy, so I understand, challenges that people go through, and this is just one kind of experience, right? So that is something that most women will go through.
Women are extremely good at multitasking, and I think that's something that I'm sure the other gender also kind of acknowledges, right? Santosh, what has been your biggest support in this journey, as in your professional journey? What do you think has been your biggest support system?
I would say my boss, Yashish, actually. He's been my biggest support system. He saw what I couldn't see in myself. At times he would give me the next role, and I would feel that am I ready for this role today? He, just because he believed in it and he believed in me, when I took on that role, and 6 months later, I would just look back and say, oh, this was not that hard. So I think that belief, sometimes just somebody believing in you so much and ensuring that over time it then starts coming to you naturally, confidence builds, and you reach a stage. At least for me, it was that I reached a stage where every time an opportunity came to me, I just did not know how to say no. I just said that, oh, I can do this, and it wasn't natural. But because somebody believed in me early on in my formative years, that just became who I was, how I operated. So having that one person is important. Do
you think that everybody needs a mentor, or what role do you think mentorship could kind of play in shaping a woman's career in any industry, for that matter? What are your views on that?
See, I think a mentor is irrespective of a man or a woman, irrespective of the gender. Mentors always help, and you could also have different mentors at different phases of your life. It may not necessarily be that you have one mentor throughout your journey. At times your parents will be your mentors. Early on in life, my father was my mentor. Then when I started my professional career, my boss became my mentor. In some ways, my husband now is my mentor, and he helps me through a few things. And so I think different phases of life can just bring out different mentors, and they just appear from somewhere, and they help you move forward in life. So I would say that, and it's true for everybody. I think it's just true for everybody that you need some people to back you up. They may not necessarily be telling you what to do next and this is what you should be doing. They're just generally there to support you, to back you up. That when something goes wrong, they're there to support you. I think that's what a mentor generally is, and those people, I've been fortunate to have them in my life, and everybody needs it. I think irrespective of, like I said, who you are, I think having a mentor in life is important, very, very helpful.
Absolutely. Santosh, what leadership lessons have stayed with you, and what would your advice be to women who want to kind of have professional careers, wanting to become leaders, as in leading platforms such as you, or anything else, right? So somebody who wants to come into this and want to build a successful career. So what kind of advice, or what would you say to young women who are aspiring to be there?
Focus on doing the right thing in the long term. Don't focus on short-term goals. Focus on real value addition. Focus on saying that, okay, this is a genuine consumer pain point, and I'm going to solve this, and business will just emerge. But don't try to over-optimize, for short-term matrices. That generally doesn't play out. Second, I would say, will be a doer, lead by example, and if you do things, if you understand, immerse yourselves in doing things. A lot of people in your team members will just have a natural respect for you. You'll become a problem solver. Try and build institution. Don't build a P&L. Build an institution. And building an institution means that it lasts way beyond you. And that will only happen if you build the right processes, if you put systems in place that take care of themselves. And initially it may start off as a people-led hustle, but build a structure, build a process, let some things take care of, they will take care of themselves, and beyond you, the organization should continue to grow. You leaving an organization should not mean that growth has stopped, and that you can only accomplish if you go through it in a manner that is structured, if you have the right people in place, and don't be the person who has all the answers in the room. Be the person who's able to build the right team, give the right people the job, and ensure that the growth comes in with everybody contributing. So generally leaders seem to over obsess about that I should have all the answers. I don't think that's what leadership is about. It's about hiring the right people, training them, giving them the right roles, bringing out the best in them, and those organizations over time will just continue to strive to do better every day.
Thank you for those lessons. I think there is something for each of us to take away from what you said in terms of leadership lessons and how you would want us to kind of look at the career path that's ahead of us. Thank you for that. And being a woman leader, how do you look at initiatives such as this, right? So we've started something called as Credit Goes to Her. It's an initiative by CRIF India. So how do you look at initiatives such as these?
I think it's an extremely, I would say it's a very good initiative, and it should help build actual products and processes for women. It should eventually lead into innovation and understanding women better and building out products that will help women in their daily lives. So how do you build a process? How do you build a product? How do you build underwriting rule engines to help women get better access to and easier access to credit? I think finally some of this should lead to those outcomes. And initiatives like these, I think, bringing women together, understanding what each of us can do for the community, for people, for women at large, I think are things that I like to be associated with. And thank you for bringing me actually on this platform. And if there's anything I can do to take this initiative forward, more than happy to contribute and collaborate. But yes, important for women to come together to build this. Financial services is going through a lot of transformation. Financial services will look very different from the way it looks today. And, over time, people will get access to more financial products. Using credit cards in your daily life, the way people have adopted UPI for that matter. Today, you can, a simple example is attaching your UPI spend to a credit card. Most people don't do that, but it's the right thing to do. If you attach your UPI spend to a credit card, one, you earn rewards. Second, your primary bank account isn't polluted with those number of transactions that you do on UPI, and your primary bank account is safe. No fraud can happen because you've linked your UPI account to a credit card. Now, something very, very basic and very, very simple, but most people don't do it. So how do we educate people in ensuring that these products are taken to people at masses? And women do a lot of these small transactions because they take care of families, right? They take care of homes. And how do you take that product to that individual? That's something that we are aspiring to do. And congratulations again on this initiative, and very happy to be associated, to collaborate and take this forward.
Thank you, Santosh. It was an honor to have you today with us, for sharing your journey and insights with us today. I think we've really heard powerful lessons on resilience, innovation, inclusion, and mentorship, and all of which is central to shaping the future of India. And I'm sure each of us have something to take away from today's session, right? So thank you, and thanks for joining and sharing your story, and for leading by example. Thank you so much. And to all the audience who joined in today, we encourage you, we invite you to stay committed to following the Credit Goes to Her initiative. We are building a community together, and to drive change, amplify women's voices, and to kind of shape the inclusive financial ecosystem. We encourage each of you to please stay tuned to upcoming events in this space. And we would really be interested to see more and more of you coming in and cheering us on this initiative. Thank you so much. Thank you, Santosh.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you.